Hi, my name is Ryan O'Hare. I'm a PA in the Immersion Department at High Point. Today we'll be discussing the article entitled Learning Theories 101, Application to Everyday Teaching and Scholarship, written by Denise Kay and Jonathan Kibble. So kind of an overview of what the article discusses. It basically discusses 5 different learning theories and kind of compares and contrasts them. There's 3 kind of main categories: behavioral, cognitive, and constructivist. And then there's kind of subsections within each section that we'll talk about. So the first one is behavioralism. Within each one, they talk about how the learning is defined, the key principles, the teacher's role, the learner's role, as well as the application to the learning environment. So for behaviorism, the learning is defined by observable increases or decreases or maintenance of the identified behavior. So these students are, observing these things and kind of watching their responses. The key principles are the relationship between the stimulus and the response, influences by controlling the stimulants and responses, and they focus on that observable behavior. The teacher plays a very active role. The learner is kind of a responsive role and responds to that stimulus. The learning applications are kind of direct instruction, as well as the role and timing of feedback. So a lot of that is, your written exam, which then the students kind of, regurgitate things that they've learned. The social cognitive theory is observable increases and decreases, kind of the same thing, in maintenance of the behaviors, but this is behavioralism plus the learner is influenced based on what someone else did or what they have heard, was that social aspect of it. The teacher plays an active role. The learner is a little bit more of an active role than the previous, but still using their natural responses. And then the learning applications is kind of socialization, the interactions with the one learned influence, and that's how they kind of learn from that, is through those social interactions. The cognitive learning theory, it's a lot of internal mental processes. They think of the mind as an information processor. It's a lot of repetition, and then represents an effective means for storing knowledge in the recall environments. And they think of it as like chunking the information, which we'll talk about. The teacher plays a highly active role. Information is organized and divided into those chunks so the learner can digest it. The learner plays an active role. They pay attention. They attempt to then retain and reproduce that knowledge. The learning applications, the presentations should build on the student's prior knowledge, and they are limited to what the learners can reasonably process given a certain time period. So think of a lot of the lectures. Constructivism, the main theory behind this is that the individual is a construction process. Learners constructed knowledge as they interact with the environment. The key principles here is that learning is goal-driven and they use a lot of prior knowledge to organize this new information. The teacher provides necessary tools and opportunities for learning, and the students are more active than the teachers. As the learner's role, the learner responds to the environment for the interaction versus reaction, which is more behavioral. The learning applications, the teacher moves to what they call a guide on the side instead of a sage on the stage. So meaning that the teacher is now kind of taking a side seat to this and just, helping these students get to where they need to be, but they're not actually being in front of them and just giving them all the information. The social constructivism, the learning is internalization and adaptation of the external experience. The learning is socially motivated. Knowledge is developed by interaction with the tools, signs, symbols, languages, and the environment. The teacher uses formal or informal resources to expand the student's knowledge. Learning encounters designed so that learners can face challenges in the social environment. That's the big thing. And then the learner's role, they use those tools again to master the next level of understanding. The applications for this is the increase in group work and group-based learning at all the educational levels. This is obviously the one that we talked about a lot this week. And a lot of times you think about this with like the PBL type learning. All in all, this article does a really good job of kind of comparing, contrasting, and if you actually look it up, they have a chart that they'll pull up and you can kind of compare all of them side by side, which I think is really great. And here's my references. Thank you.